December 14, 2025, 3:47 a.m. A massive cargo vessel, the Caspian Star, cuts through Black Sea waters carrying $500 million worth of Iranian Shahed drones destined for Russian forces. Aboard, 280 drones, 45 Iranian technicians, and 12 captured Ukrainian sailors held as human shields. The ship's captain believed darkness and international waters would protect them, but 2 guided missile destroyers, 1 nuclear attack submarine, 350 Navy SEALs, and 60 underwater drones had been tracking them for 72 hours. What happened when Ukraine's maritime special forces coordinated with NATO's most lethal naval strike group? And how did they turn Iran's most valuable weapons shipment into a $500 million fireworks display while saving every hostage? The Caspian Star wasn't just any cargo ship. It was a floating weapons depot disguised as a grain carrier. Intelligence satellites had been tracking this 850-foot vessel since it departed Bandara Base 3 weeks earlier. Hidden in modified shipping containers were 280 Shahed 136 kamikaze drones, each worth $1.8 million, along with advanced targeting systems and Iranian military advisors. The ship's manifest was a masterpiece of deception. Officially, it carried 40,000 tons of wheat bound for Syria. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard had perfected this cover, using legitimate agricultural exports to mask their most sensitive weapons transfers. Maritime intelligence analysts at Norfolk identified the ship's true purpose when thermal imaging detected unusual heat signatures from cargo holds, patterns consistent with drone storage batteries and electronic warfare equipment maintaining operational temperature. Captain Mohammed Rashidi commanded the vessel with the confidence of 12 successful weapons runs. His crew of 85 included 45 Revolutionary Guard technicians responsible for maintaining the Shahed drones during transport. These weren't ordinary cargo handlers. They were elite specialists capable of assembling and launching the weapons if Russian forces needed immediate deployment. Each technician carried encrypted communications equipment linking directly to Tehran's command structure. The Ukrainian sailors captured during a previous Black Sea engagement were being held in the ship's lower cargo holds, their families back in Odessa believing them dead for 6 weeks. Iranian operatives planned to use them as bargaining chips if intercepted, knowing NATO rules of engagement prioritized civilian safety above mission success. The hostages included Lieutenant Commander Alexei Petrov, Ukraine's most experienced naval intelligence officer, whose knowledge of Black Sea operations made him invaluable to Iranian interrogators. Admiral Sarah Chen, commanding the USS Gettysburg from her flagship's Combat Information Center, received the intercept order at 0200 hours. This isn't just about stopping one shipment. She briefed her strike group commanders via encrypted satellite link. Iran has been using this route for 8 months, delivering $2.3 billion in weapons to Russian forces. We shut this down. We collapsed their entire Black Sea supply corridor. The mission parameters were unambiguous. Neutralize the threat, secure the weapons, extract the hostages, all without creating an international incident that could escalate into broader conflict. Ukrainian Maritime Special Operations Forces had been coordinating with NATO for 3 weeks, planning the most complex naval interdiction operation since the Somali pirate crisis. Captain Dmitry Volkov's 18-man unit brought intimate knowledge of Black Sea shipping patterns and Iranian operational methods. Their intelligence network had infiltrated port facilities in both Novorossiysk and Batumi, tracking similar weapons shipments through careful surveillance of Revolutionary Guard personnel movements. The operational window was closing rapidly. Russian naval intelligence had detected unusual NATO submarine activity and was moving 2 Krivak-class frigates to provide escort for the Caspian Star. Satellite imagery showed these vessels departing Sevastopol with orders to intercept any NATO forces threatening Iranian shipping. The weapons cargo had to be seized before Russian protection arrived, estimated at 18 hours maximum. The naval assets converging on the Caspian Star represented $4.7 billion in cutting-edge maritime warfare technology and 2 decades of tactical evolution. The USS Gettysburg, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, approached from the northwest with 122 vertical launch cells loaded with Tomahawk Block VI missiles capable of precision strikes within 3-meter accuracy. Her Aegis combat system simultaneously tracked 47 surface contacts while maintaining electronic warfare surveillance across 200 square miles of Black Sea waters. The USS Montana, a Virginia-class attack submarine, had been shadowing the cargo ship submerged at 220 feet depth for 16 hours. Her sonar operators could distinguish individual crew members walking across the Caspian Star's steel decks through passive acoustic analysis. The submarine's 12 vertical launch tubes contained a mixture of Tomahawk missiles and Mark 48 AD-cap torpedoes, each weapon system capable of surgical precision strikes that could disable without destroying critical evidence. Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison led SEAL Team 8's 24-man assault force from aboard the destroyer USS Porter. His operators had spent 72 hours in mission rehearsal using a detailed ship mock-up constructed from satellite imagery and intelligence photographs. Every corridor, cargo hold, and defensive position aboard the Caspian Star had been memorized through virtual reality training systems that recreated the target vessel down to individual rivet placements. The technological edge belonged to 60 autonomous underwater vehicles deployed in coordinated search patterns around the Iranian vessel. These AUVs, manufactured by General Dynamics at $420,000 each, created an invisible sensor net tracking every acoustic signature within a 75-square-mile operational area. Their advanced AI systems could distinguish between marine life, submarine threats, and surface vessel movements while maintaining communication through quantum encrypted data links. Ukrainian forces brought their own lethal capabilities developed through 3 years of Black Sea combat operations. Captain Volkov's Maritime Special Operations Unit had infiltrated the area aboard 2 Gyrza Ime-class patrol boats disguised as commercial fishing vessels. These 58-foot vessels carried concealed 30mm autocannons and Spike NLOS anti-ship missiles capable of penetrating 1,000mm of steel armor. His 18 operators were veterans of previous Iranian weapons interdictions, carrying specialized equipment for shipboarding operations, including magnetic hull charges and electronic warfare devices capable of disabling modern navigation and communication systems. The Iranian crew remained unaware of the closing trap despite Revolutionary Guard training in counter-surveillance techniques. Captain Rashidi had successfully completed 12 similar weapons runs over 8 months, growing overconfident in his ship's agricultural camouflage. Iranian intelligence had assured him that NATO forces were focused on Mediterranean operations supporting Israeli defense requirements, leaving the Black Sea corridor relatively unmonitored. This strategic miscalculation would prove catastrophic for Tehran's most valuable weapons shipment. Revolutionary Guard Major Hassan Javadi, the shipment's military commander, maintained constant communication with both Tehran and approaching Russian naval units. His 45 technicians had prepared contingency plans, including destruction of evidence, if capture seemed imminent. Each Shahed drone carried explosive charges that could be remotely detonated, turning the weapons cargo into a massive bomb capable of vaporizing the entire vessel along with any boarding parties. At 04:45 hours, the Montana's passive sonar array detected significant engine vibration changes aboard the Caspian Star. The massive cargo ship was beginning evasive maneuvers toward Russian territorial waters just 40 nautical miles distant. The Caspian Star suddenly altered course 35 degrees southeast, her engines powering to maximum thrust as Captain Rashidi received an encrypted flash message from Revolutionary Guard intelligence in Tehran. NATO shadows detected. Execute Emergency Protocol 7. Russian escort inbound 14 hours. The 850-foot vessel pushed through heavy seas at 19 knots, her massive diesel engines straining against the additional speed demands while crew members activated defensive countermeasures, including chaff dispensers and electronic jamming equipment. Commander Morrison's SEAL assault teams launched from the USS Porter aboard 4 Mark V Special Operations craft at 05:12 hours. These 82-foot vessels, powered by twin diesel engines producing 2,285 horsepower each, approached the Iranian cargo ship at 45 knots while maintaining minimal radar signature through stealth hull design. Each boat carried 8 fully equipped operators, along with specialized equipment for vertical ship assault. including magnetic climbing systems, breaching charges, and suppressed weapons optimized for close-quarters maritime combat. The tactical approach utilized the cargo ship's massive hull as cover from Iranian lookouts stationed on the bridge and superstructure. SEAL Team 8 had studied the vessel's blind spots through satellite thermal imaging, identifying optimal boarding points where structural elements would conceal their ascent. Petty Officer First Class Rodriguez led the starboard assault team with magnetic climbing gear capable of supporting 400 pounds of operator and equipment weight during vertical wall scaling operations. The USS Montana surfaced to periscope depth at 05:23 hours, extending her photonics mast and electronic surveillance equipment to coordinate the multi-platform attack. Fire Control Technician Chief Williams had already programmed 4 Mark 48 ADC-AP torpedoes for precision strikes against the Caspian Star's propulsion systems, surgical operations designed to disable mobility without compromising hull integrity or endangering hostages held in lower cargo compartments. Ukrainian Captain Volkov's patrol boats dropped their fishing vessel disguise at 05:25 hours, revealing mounted 12.7mm heavy machine guns and Spike NLOS surface-to-surface missiles with 25-kilometer range capability. His orders were explicit: prevent any cargo from being jettisoned overboard while maintaining standoff distance to avoid Iranian defensive fire. Intelligence indicated the Revolutionary Guard had prepared underwater explosive charges to destroy evidence if capture appeared imminent. The Iranian crew's growing panic became evident through thermal imaging systems aboard the Gettysburg as personnel ran between cargo holds and defensive positions. Revolutionary Guard Major Javadi ordered his technicians to begin arming the Shahed drone's integral self-destruct mechanisms, a desperate measure that would destroy $500 million in weapons rather than allow NATO capture. If we cannot deliver these weapons to our Russian allies, he radioed Tehran through encrypted satellite communication, the Americans will gain nothing but twisted metal and chemical residue. SEAL Team 8 reached the Caspian Star's hull at 05:34 hours, their Mark V craft maintaining position against 12-foot seas, while operators transferred to magnetic climbing systems. Petty Officer Collins attached the first ascenders, while Sergeant Martinez provided overwatch with a suppressed M4 rifle equipped with thermal optics. Above them, Iranian sentries remained focused on distant surface contacts, completely unaware that death was climbing their ship's steel walls through methodical vertical assault techniques perfected in dozens of previous maritime operations. The first critical mistake came when nervous Iranian lookouts opened fire on approaching Ukrainian patrol boats, their AK-74 rifles and PKM machine guns creating muzzle flashes that illuminated defensive positions for NATO targeting systems. This aggressive action triggered immediate escalation authorization from Admiral Chen's Combat Information Center. The first Iranian bullets striking Ukrainian patrol boat hulls triggered immediate NATO response authorization under Article 5 Collective Defense Protocols. Admiral Chen's voice cut through tactical frequencies with lethal clarity. All units weapons free. Execute Seahawk protocol. I repeat, weapons are free. The operational gloves were completely off. The USS Montana fired 4 Mark 48 AD-cap torpedoes simultaneously at 05:47 hours, each 650-pound warhead, streaking through dark water at 55 knots toward precisely calculated impact points. The submarine's fire control computer had selected targets that would disable propulsion without breaching fuel tanks or cargo holds containing both weapons and hostages. Impact came 52 seconds later. 4 sequential explosions that shattered the Caspian Star's propeller shafts, rudder assembly, and emergency steering systems without compromising hull integrity. The massive vessel lurched violently to starboard, her engines screaming as damaged components tore themselves apart in showers of sparks and twisted metal. SEAL Team 8 used the torpedo explosions' chaos and noise to breach the main deck through pre-planned access points. Thermite breaching charges burned through cargo hold steel, while flashbang grenades disoriented Iranian defenders attempting to establish perimeter security. Commander Morrison's assault teams moved through the ship's corridors like lethal ghosts, their AN/PVS 31 night vision systems turning complete darkness into tactical advantage, while suppressed weapons eliminated resistance with surgical precision. The first 3 Iranian Revolutionary Guard soldiers died within 15 seconds of SEAL team insertion, their bodies dropping silently to steel deck plates as suppressed 5.56mm rounds found vital targets. The operators advanced using room-clearing techniques perfected through hundreds of similar shipboarding operations, each movement coordinated through helmet-mounted communication systems that allowed instantaneous tactical coordination without verbal commands that might alert additional defenders. Major Javadi activated the emergency beacon system at 0551 hours, transmitting coded distress signals that summoned Russian naval units racing from Sevastopol at maximum speed. But his communications immediately revealed the convoy's exact position to every NATO electronic warfare system operating in the Black Sea region. Within 3 minutes, jamming equipment aboard the USS Gettysburg severed all Iranian satellite communications, while cyber warfare specialists penetrated the ship's navigation and internal communication systems through wireless network infiltration. Ukrainian forces executed their boarding assault from the port side as SEAL teams secured starboard sections through coordinated pincer movement. Captain Volkov personally led the bridge assault, his operators using shaped charges manufactured from C4 explosive to blast through armored doors protecting the ship's command center. The Iranian captain died defending his communications equipment in a brief firefight, but not before transmitting final coordinate updates to Revolutionary Guard headquarters in Tehran, confirming NATO interdiction operations. The most intense combat erupted in Cargo Hold 3, where 140 Shahed 136 drones were stored alongside their Iranian technical maintenance crew. Major Javadi had personally armed multiple self-destruct charges hidden throughout the cargo area, turning the entire hold into a potential 500-pound bomb capable of vaporizing half the ship along with everyone aboard. SEAL Explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialists had exactly 18 minutes to locate and disarm charges scattered throughout 50,000 cubic feet of cargo space, while under direct fire from Revolutionary Guard defenders using the drone containers as improvised fighting positions. Petty Officer First Class Sarah Kim led the bomb disposal effort, while her teammates provided covering fire against Iranian positions. Her hands remained surgically steady, despite 7.62mm bullets punching through steel container walls just meters from her position, each near miss sending sparks and metal fragments across her workspace. The self-destruct charges were sophisticated devices requiring specialized knowledge of Iranian military demolitions to safely disarm. One wrong wire cut would trigger sympathetic detonation across all connected explosives. Below decks in the ship's forward cargo compartments, 12 Ukrainian sailors held captive for 6 weeks heard gunfire and explosions echoing through steel corridors. Lieutenant Commander Alexei Petrov, senior among the hostages, organized his fellow prisoners for potential rescue, while uncertain whether the violence above represented liberation or execution by their captors. At 06:18 hours, Petty Officer Sarah Kim severed the final detonation wire on the last explosive charge hidden among drone storage containers in Cargo Hold 3. Her explosive ordnance disposal training had identified 23 separate charges linked through fiber optic cables to a central control system operated by Major Javadi's position on the bridge. Each device contained enough military-grade explosive to chain detonate the entire weapons cargo, but surgical wire cutting in precise sequence had isolated and neutralized the threat without triggering any sympathetic explosions. The $500 million weapons cache was secure, its self-destruct capability eliminated through surgical precision under active combat conditions. Intelligence specialists immediately began photographing and cataloging drone serial numbers, guidance systems, and technical documentation that would provide unprecedented insight into Iranian weapons manufacturing capabilities and delivery networks throughout the region. Commander Morrison's SEAL teams reached the hostage compartment at 06:25 hours after eliminating the final Iranian resistance in the ship's lower decks. 12 Ukrainian sailors, held captive for 6 weeks in deteriorating conditions, emerged blinking into tactical flashlight beams as their rescuers cleared the compartment of booby traps and secured safe evacuation routes. Navy medical personnel immediately began treating malnutrition, dehydration, and injuries sustained during prolonged captivity in cramped steel compartments. Lieutenant Commander Alexei Petrov, despite his weakened condition, provided immediate intelligence about Iranian interrogation methods and Revolutionary Guard operational security procedures he had observed during captivity. His information would prove invaluable for future counterintelligence operations against Iranian maritime weapons smuggling networks operating throughout the Black Sea and Mediterranean regions. Captain Volkov's Ukrainian forces completed their systematic sweep of the ship's upper decks and superstructure, accounting for all 130 Iranian personnel aboard the vessel. Final casualty reports showed 67 Revolutionary Guard soldiers and technicians killed in action during the 41-minute engagement, with 18 wounded and captured alive, including Major Javadi himself. The Iranian commander initially attempted suicide with a concealed cyanide capsule, but quick medical intervention by Navy corpsmen preserved his life for intensive interrogation. Major Javadi provided detailed intelligence about similar weapon shipments after Ukrainian interrogation specialists convinced him that cooperation represented his only path to avoiding execution for maritime terrorism charges. His revelations included shipping schedules for 6 additional weapons convoys, Iranian agent networks in European ports, and Revolutionary Guard financing methods using cryptocurrency transfers through Lebanese banking systems. The weapons seizure represented the largest Iranian arms interdiction in naval warfare history. Beyond the 280 Shahed 136 drones valued at $504 million, investigators discovered advanced electronic warfare systems worth $67 million, encrypted quantum communication equipment valued at $23 million, and $4.7 million in untraceable cryptocurrency stored on military-grade hardware systems. The total intelligence and material value exceeded $875 million, representing a catastrophic loss for Iranian military export operations. Iranian retaliation began within 6 hours of the interdiction. Coordinated speedboat attacks against commercial shipping in the Persian Gulf targeted vessels flying flags from NATO member countries. These attacks killed 14 civilian crew members and damaged 3 oil tankers, but failed to achieve their strategic objective of deterring future weapons interdiction operations. The international community responded with increased naval patrols and more aggressive rules of engagement for Iranian vessels operating in international waters. The Black Sea weapons corridor was permanently severed through the Caspian Star operation. Satellite analysis revealed 4 similar cargo ships immediately altering course back toward Iranian ports within 12 hours of the interdiction. Their weapons delivery missions aborted after receiving detailed reports of NATO capabilities demonstrated during the successful boarding operation. Revolutionary Guard maritime operations shifted to longer, more expensive routes through the Indian Ocean that reduced weapons delivery efficiency by 60%. The strategic message resonated throughout Middle Eastern maritime networks and international smuggling organizations. NATO's naval reach extended far beyond traditional operational areas, backed by real-time intelligence fusion and surgical strike capabilities that could neutralize threats while preserving evidence for international prosecution. Iranian weapons smuggling operations would now face unprecedented interdiction capabilities supported by quantum encrypted communications and autonomous underwater vehicle surveillance networks. Admiral Chen's after-action report concluded with a comprehensive assessment. Mission accomplished with 0 friendly casualties. Enemy weapons seized intact. All hostages recovered alive. International waters secured for legitimate commerce. The coordinated operation involving 350 NATO Special Operations personnel and Ukrainian maritime forces had transformed a routine weapons smuggling operation into Iran's most expensive naval defeat since the 1988 Operation Praying Mantis engagement. The Caspian Star now serves as floating evidence in international courts. Her cargo holds displaying physical proof of Iranian weapons proliferation to prosecutors seeking justice for maritime terrorism charges. The vessel's captured documentation and technical systems continue providing intelligence about Revolutionary Guard operations, contributing to the disruption of weapons networks supporting proxy conflicts across 3 continents. Don't forget to subscribe for more explosive naval operations content and hit that notification bell to catch every mission as soon as it drops. What other Iranian weapons networks should NATO target next? Let me know in the comments below.